Hi, it's John Doe, aka Frags with the DNB Academy, and welcome to another video. Again, we're gonna dive a little bit more into Serum 2, and today we're gonna be building snares, right? One of the best features, again, of the Serum is the way we can split our sound and send our individual oscillators into specific parts like buzzes, right? And we gotta take advantage of that to build a snare that's gonna sound pretty much just finished straight out of Serum. So yeah, let's dive into the patch itself. Okay, and to start things off, we're gonna use the wavetable here, right? And we're gonna stick to the fundamentals on Serum, going with the analog shapes, basic shapes, all right? Bringing the random phase all the way down to 0, choosing our phase 0 at 90 degrees. So we can get pretty much this. Just a click, 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 click. Sine wave, that's kind of what we want. And now we're going to start shaping it up just to create our transient slash body for our snare. So I'm going to use this as an envelope mode, all right? So I'm going to switch this into envelope, and we're going to start assigning this to the level, all right? Bring it back and all the way up. So we can start, shaping up our snare. Going to bring down the level on our main. Okay, good enough for now. Now let's use LFO2 to shape up our pitch, okay? So we're gonna go to our matrix, we're gonna select LFOs, LFO2, that's what we're gonna use. The polarity is okay here, and the destination is gonna be the master tuning, all right? So we're gonna go to global, main tuning in this case, they change it to main tuning. We're gonna keep it here, all right? And we're gonna set this to like 20%, right? This should be enough. Let's go back to our oscillator and obviously tweak this. This shape is it's not how it should be. It should be something a bit more like this. Okay, so now we already have our, pretty much the body of our snare. We can look at span here. We're playing it quite high. We can just bring this down 1 octave. Make it a lower snare, like a 200 hertz-ish snare, and we can actually keep it that way. All right, and then on the last envelope here, I'm gonna set it to envelope as well. I'm gonna bring this down to the max, and I'm gonna assign this to the coarse. And we're gonna just select the polarity here. I'm gonna put it straight, in this case, just to add the click. I'm gonna tune it like super high there, right? And make it like super short here. Because I just want that click. Now it's starting to sound a little bit more like a snare. We just need the tail, we need the noise to create that rattle that we need. Okay, so let's choose our noise oscillator here. There's plenty of new noises, as I told you before, that need to be explored. But honestly, for snares, I feel like keeping it simple in this case is the best approach. So we're gonna go with a pink or white noise. Pink will always be a little bit darker, and white noise will always be a little bit brighter in that sense. So it's up to you, but let's go with pink for this one. So we're gonna just increase the level and choose another envelope here so we can shape up our noise just like this. See, create a little bit of a gap for our transient to breathe in. And then just design it up to your taste. If you want a shorter, clickier snare, if you want it a bit, longer, a little more splashy, it's up to you, okay? Then you can actually, there's a new feature, you can just filter it. It used to be the pitch, but now it feels like actually like we're filtering up instead of pitching it up, which is nice because we can get rid of those annoying-ish lower mids that those noises bring up to the mix, okay? So it's already sounding quite interesting. And now that's where the fun part begins. Let's flip this into the FX chain and start working on one of the coolest things we can do with snares right now, all right? So now that we're on our FXs, first we're gonna go into our main, all right? We just wanna use a little bit of compression and a slight saturation to glue those elements together, as we kind of would if we were working with all these chains outside of Serum. So I'm gonna use some subtle tape saturation, in this case, like really subtle. Look, that's what this sort of distortion does, this saturation. Just doesn't wreck our sound. We get the tone, we get the snappiness still, so it's working good. Then we're just gonna EQ this a little bit, just to make sure we don't get any excessive lows back then. So I'm gonna bring down the Q up to 50. Make sure there's nothing going below 200 Hertz, let's say. And bring down that little resonant peak. So it's just sounding good at this point, okay? And now, one of the coolest things we can do, it's actually start making this noise that let's be real, it sounds like noise, pure digital noise. And now we can create a certain buzz, all right? So we can assign that noise there, and this will help make the snare sound live, you know, because that noise is going to run through a convolution reverb plugin that we got now on Serum, and we're going to explore that, right? So let's go. On the bus 1, we're going to add that so-called convolve, all right? There's plenty of impulses here within convolve that you can choose, and obviously you can load your own later. But in this case, we're going to start and we're going to use just the default ones we've got here on Serum that everyone has. So we're going to go with the short ones. And I found out that these ones, the short plate and the tight plate, are pretty nice, okay? So if we assign them here, we now need to go to our mixer, all right, to make sure we feed some signal into our bus. So we're going to assign our noise. As you can see here, it goes straight to our main, but now we're going to assign this to our bus 1, which is the bus that we've been editing, and I'm going to assign it like 100% so we can clearly hear the changes. So let's flip back to our effects, increase the mix, and you see now we're getting that really cool acoustic sounding vibe to our snare. And the beauty about it is that we're not actually sending this, and we're not wrecking our transient in our body with excessive reverb effects that usually gonna bring down the punchiness, the snappiness that we got there. So now let's just shape this a bit with a new LFO. I'm gonna create another envelope in this case, and we're gonna tweak also its sort of like shape. So we're gonna bring down the mixer, make like a shape like sort of like the same we did for our noise, just a little bit bigger and longer. We can set it around here. Awesome. Let's just tweak a little bit of the size here. We can make it a little bit smaller. And also the tone. If you want it a bit more pitched up, a little bit more on the low side of things. I feel like something around here is good. We don't want no pre-delay in this case because precision, all right, we want things to snap, but if you wanted to add a little bit of offsetting to it, like this, you can, but I rather want to have it like this, you know, just pure attack. And yeah, of course the attack, just like if you don't want it to mess that much on top of our transient, you can create a little gap, as you can see here, which is pretty decent if you leave it something like this. And the decay, of course, it's self-explanatory. It's like pretty much we don't hear it if we reduce it too much. So I like to keep it like 10, 15 less minimum I would go. Just increase the mix a bit. And for the sake of experimenting, we can try some other, you see, some other impulses. But I highly suggest trying these ones because as you can hear, it already sounds like a snare. And if we go to our mixer and we actually bring this down from our bus, it's really dull compared to what we had before. Look. It's, you know, completely different, right? So this is the power, you know, of using the buzzes. And at this point, you can even make this better if you want to, let's say, find a ring and get a ring for your snare to sound like super, you know, skull snappy. So we can get like an equalizer and we can start EQing our little, you know, convoluted layer here. And we can actually create peaks on certain frequencies like See? And now we get that metallic feeling to it that pretty sure that if we add a little bit of distortion, like a subtle tape saturation, starts to make it sound pretty interesting, especially if we shape up like if we now shape up the size of our convoluted layer, like even if we play a higher snare, like pretty interesting. So yeah, this is the power of the new buzz system that we got on Serum FX. This will be handy in so many situations, and I can see it taking like drum design to a next level with these tools available. So stay tuned for more updates. If you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and check the description for more content from us here over at the NB Academy. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.